And so I was bored, burnt out, bored of the endless pursuit of productivity, bored of 15 ways to file my thoughts, or 12 ways to write a to-do list, or 78 ways to read a book backwards in order to hop between universes and become the productivity supreme overlord. Although that being said, I still knew there was value in being productive and, being time efficient, but I had to rethink the way I was thinking productivity in order to make it more congruent with an enjoyable life. I was thinking about it separately, as though productivity was the thing you had to do in order to get to the life you really wanted to live. And it wasn't until I rethought that things kind of moved smoothly. So I kind of want to share 3 of the things that I changed in my life and in my kind of productivity systems in order to make it that much more enjoyable and therefore that much more sustainable. So the first thing I started to do was leave room in my productivity systems for the effect of chance. Now, you may have come across the word serendipity, which is the occurrence and development of events by chance in a happy or beneficial way. And the thing is, when you have a productivity system or routines, you can become quite engrossed in them, right? Like, I have to do this at this time, otherwise everything's gonna fall apart and, it's not gonna go to plan. But when you live life so rigidly, not only does it potentially become boring, but you often miss out on opportunities to enrich your life and even potentially enrich your own productivity systems and the outcomes that you're outcoming. And leaving room for chance in your systems looks so different. I mean, it may be that you have a very strict workout routine and a friend of yours suggests, hey, let's work out together. I just came across this really cool plan and I'd like to try some things out. And you're like, actually, I planned on training this day, so I'm not even gonna try it. I don't wanna hear about it. I don't wanna go to that class that you said may be fun because this is all part of my system or my productivity routine and I'm not interested. And you potentially missed out on an opportunity to, 1, spend time with that friend, 2, try something new, potentially impact your own routines, the way you think about fitness, and so much more. Another example of this is I recently started to take more walks. And when you are walking and you are open to conversations with people, especially in parks, you'll notice that people can be very open and very warm at times, especially if they have pets, which is really interesting. As pets kind of are like a window for conversation, like, oh, your pet's really cute, whatever. And having those conversations were fantastic. I mean, they weren't part of my system, and I probably would have got home quicker to do something else if I didn't stop to talk to these people, but I would have missed out on that opportunity to communicate with them. And them always leading to these grandiose ideas or anything like that. And yeah, I could have probably spent time speaking to a professional about site reliability engineering or YouTube or whatever, but it was beyond the point. It was leaving things open to chance and also just the benefit of the conversation itself. The point here was all about moving away from the idea that if it wasn't in my 26-step Notion plan that I couldn't do it, and more towards the idea of, yes, structure is important. Yes, routines are imperative to, reaching a goal. But on a broader sense, how am I going to sustain my systems if I don't leave room for chance or events that, weren't part of the schedule, or really, like I said, serendipity in general? The second thing I started to do was reflecting on tasks and activities after I'd done them. There's a saying that goes, it's impossible to read the label from inside the bottle. This is a really, really interesting concept, but it makes complete sense. It can often be hard to see exactly everything that's going on or what you're getting out of something whilst you're still doing it, which is why stepping back to reflect can be so pivotal. And the interesting thing about this is when you start to look at your activities and tasks as part of your productivity system in a different light, you can start to extract more from it, whether it be things that enrich your productivity system again, like realizing actually, I always go to that example of me working at reception. By working at reception and getting certain things done, I was able to interact with more people. It was more enjoyable, but also I'm developing my skills in this way. There's so many ways that reflecting on it afterwards, you could have just said, I'm just sitting at the front desk and that's all I'm doing, or, I'm just typing out this thing and that's all I'm doing, or I'm recording this YouTube video, that's what I'm doing. But what else are you getting out of it that could really help with the next time you do this task or do a task that's completely different? The really important thing about this is it allows you to see the potential again for enrichment beyond just the outcome of the task. We do things for a variety of reasons, and sometimes when we are trying to be as productive as possible, we can be very one-sided, right? Like very much tunnel vision. And so we forget to take on all the other things that come with those activities. And sometimes it may be just that, like I literally just wrote a to-do list. But other times there is more scope to kind of learn from those things and then implement them in other systems, in other activities, and just in life in general. So the third thing I changed, in order to start enjoying my productivity systems and my pursuit of a more productive life, was to start to view everything as potential art. Now, if you've been on my channel, you'll know that I recently started on my artistic journey, if you like, and in the process, have created a lot of bad art. Like, I've done a lot of that. But trying out painting and an artistic pursuit like this really kind of showed me how we view things differently when we refer to them as art or see them as art, and how we experience the event, but also how we experience the world around it. For example, when I started painting trees and things like that, and noticing the detail because I had to paint them, when you go outside and notice a tree or a leaf or a flower, you take it in a lot more. Like, your experience of the world through that particular sense is enhanced because, well, it's just a kind of a natural tendency to start to take more notice, whether that be because you intend on making your own work better or just because you're aware of it now. Like, I never quite noticed, that particular detail in a house or the door, or, in a particular flower, the petal. And I think taking this approach to pretty much a lot of the things in your productivity system can help enrich your experience of it. I heard the other day somebody describe the art of code. Right now, you could think about coding as, all right, I'm just going to get this piece of script done, or this, this block of code done in order to get to my end product. Or you could think about this as an artistic process, right? Like, I have an idea about how I want to execute this thing. I'm going to bring together my knowledge. This is how I'm going to look at it. And it does, again, start to affect the way you see things around you and the way you process things and what you take in for use elsewhere. And so it becomes, again, not just about this outcome linked to an activity or a task, but it becomes about your whole experience of both the activity and life in general. And now I'm not, again, suggesting that every single thing has to be, a whole experience, a whole fiasco, if you like. I get it. Some things we're just doing and we're just trying to get them done. But a lot of the time we are working on things that we could really be drawing on a different part of ourselves and our brain and engagement with it that I think would makes the task more enjoyable. Like, when I think of code as art, that's very different to just, I've got to get it done. Or when I think about the art of conversation, I've heard that phrase many a time too. And whether that be part of your schoolwork, you're talking to your professor, or whether you're at work talking to a colleague, or whether you're talking to a business coach, or whether you're talking to a family, whatever it is. Now, it's not just me trying to get to this end goal, it's also the art of the conversation, it's the art of the activity, and therefore I should approach it differently. Like, this is an opportunity for both creative expression as well as the pursuit of the outcome. And I don't want this to sound all wishy-washy, because I'm a very logical person and rooted in logic in most of my decisions. However, I think when you take everything creative or everything that could be left to chance, all these things out, things kind of become a little bit dry. They become a little bit boring, and then you become a series of Notion templates and self-help books and a list of things and a list of lists, a list of ways to list lists. But yes, that's kind of what I wanted to share today. I hope that helped. I mean, I know a lot of us want to be productive. We want to, get the most out of life and get the most out of what we're doing. But at the same time, we don't want to become like this robot or this shadow of ourselves. When you're a child and you have that childlike playfulness and everything just seems like it's possible, everything seems fun. Like, I remember playing with things as a kid that it's like a box of videos, I've made a house out of it. And that kind of playfulness and fun and openness to life is, I think, something we can inject into our productivity systems to make them more enjoyable and to make them more sustainable. So I hope this helps, and I will see you in the next video.